It's Wulf, and it's another First 15. This is Main Assembly. Now, before I talk about the game, I just want to mention that this First 15 was recorded in a different way than the other First 15s that I've done for PC games in the past. So normally when I recorded First 15s, I would use the same computer as I was playing the game on to record the game on. However, in a whole bunch of those First 15 videos, I mentioned that recording while playing the game usually slowed the game down quite a bit. So there's a whole bunch of First 15s that I've done already that the games are only getting like between 20 and 30 FPS, when normally when I wasn't recording they were running at 60 FPS on my computer. However, I recently made a new addition to my sort of recording and otherwise computing arsenal. I bought myself a mini PC. I didn't actually buy it for this reason. I bought it for pretty much like a media center device for while I'm at college. I'm going to do a review on it eventually, and I'll probably, after I graduate, put it to work in some other way. I have a whole bunch of different ideas for it, but right now it pretty much is just what I use to stream TV. And I decided to go ahead and put the Elgato capture software on there because it has the same processor as my old laptop. Well, okay, it doesn't have the exact same processor as my old laptop. It has an i3 processor. My old laptop also had an i3 processor, and the processor in this small mini PC is like a different one, but it's only slightly weaker, so I figured it was probably pretty much capable of the same things as my old laptop. And my old laptop used to be able to record footage, and like that's the laptop that I started the channel with. Some of the older videos were recorded and edited on that laptop. So decided to test it out, and it does record things, but sometimes it doesn't always work the most perfectly. I have gotten it to record 1080p 60 FPS, but it really doesn't like to, which is understandable because it's not really a super powerful processor, but it seems like in the right conditions it will. However, for this gameplay, I ended up recording it in 720p because 1080p for this game at 60 FPS just wasn't working with me, and once I changed the resolution of this game to 720p to test out to see how 720p recording would work, I couldn't get it back to 1080p. The mouse was like glitched out to where I literally like couldn't reach the apply button after selecting 1080p again, so it was like stuck at 720p. So anyway, it's recorded at 720p, but at least it's at 60 FPS instead of the like 5 that I probably would have gotten otherwise if I had recorded this just on my main computer. Now another thing though is that recording it on this other PC, audio recording, it's just like it can record the video, but trying to overlay commentary on it also through the Elgato it's definitely not cut out for doing that much work. I'm recording this audio after having recorded the gameplay already, so a lot of this footage is actually not going to have any commentary, and that's probably going to be the same for a couple of other First 15s in the future. I think that overall, just to have a good resolution and a good frame rate is much better than having me commentate over the whole video and only having like a resolution of like less than 720 in graphics settings all low and still only getting like 15 FPS sometimes in some of the games. So that's why this gameplay is recorded in a little bit of a different way, and why other First 15s might be recorded in this way as well. Now I'm still going to do like the normal full commentary First 15s on like console games and stuff, and on PC games that are not very hardware intensive that I can do the recording at the same time stuff with, but sometimes they're going to look like this as well. Anyway, actually one more thing before I get to talking about the game. So also some graphical glitches happened when I was recording this gameplay. I'm probably just going to cut them out and put in like crossfades so that way the screen doesn't look like it's glitching. I think eventually it settled down kind of once it got into recording, but at the beginning there was a couple of like times where it would skip some frames and stuff. Doesn't always do that. Again, it seems to be just sort of like a how the computer's feeling, what I'm recording. If it has like a lot of colors and stuff, I guess probably affects it. But anyway, about the game. So this is Main Assembly. You guys have been seeing gameplay footage of it already for a little bit. It's a game where you sort of build vehicles and use them to get to certain points on the levels, and there's also a bunch of side objectives like bringing things from one spot to another, stuff like that. It's kind of a puzzle game, but this game actually, the thing that it reminds me of the most isn't actually a game. It reminds me of a program that I used in a class in high school called Autodesk Inventor, which was like a 3D modeling program, and it feels a lot like using that, but in like game format. So you kind of click on joints in different surfaces and stuff and expand them or shrink them or whatever to make your vehicles. You have to add the motors and the wheels and all that stuff. I don't really feel like getting all into it. This footage doesn't really include much of the tutorial, if any. I don't actually remember like what I recorded, but I know that I played through through some of the tutorial levels before I started recording, so it's not like first 15, but it's kind of like first 15 within the first 30 minutes or so. So yeah, you build little vehicles for your little robot guy to drive around, and you have to complete these levels using these vehicles. And so each level presents different challenges and stuff, and it's actually, I liked this game more than I was expecting to. I kind of didn't really remember why I requested it actually when I got the key for it, but nonetheless, they sent it to me. So I decided to play it, and it was a pleasant surprise how much I actually enjoyed playing this game. I'm not usually a huge person for like puzzle games, but this one's pretty fun, especially I think because of the kind of driving aspect and the fact that you get to build your own vehicles and stuff. I will say I think that one of the big downfalls of this game though was the actual building section, because the tutorial tells you how to do stuff, but it isn't always the most clear, especially on the more intricate parts of it. So like at one point in the gameplay footage, and I might cut this out a little bit, but I added in a boombox to the top of my vehicle just to be like, haha, boombox, yay, music things. And when I went to delete it, because it was like kind of screwing up with my handling, I think a little bit, there wasn't an easy way to select all the pieces, and like even normal shortcuts like shift click or control click that usually lets you select multiples of things like in Windows and stuff, those weren't working, but yet like control Z is still undo. So it was kind of weird because some of the more intricate controls aren't really explained to you, but you would think that stuff that's like group select and things like that would be more easily accessible. Also, sometimes getting it to snap, like getting different structures to snap into place in the right dimension, can also be a little bit frustrating. And I think just yeah, the group select thing was probably the thing that really most kind of screwed with my designs in this game, because like there were times, and there also I couldn't find a button to just clear the slate and start over with a new vehicle, because towards the end of the gameplay, and again it might be another section that I'll cut a little bit out of because it's pretty boring, but towards the end of the gameplay there was like 5 minutes or so where I wanted to start over with a new vehicle because the vehicle I had made really wasn't working at all for the course I was on, and I just couldn't figure out a way to actually do that. So anyway though, despite those complaints about the actual building stuff, the physics of this game are pretty cool. The graphics are actually really good. The little robot character that you play as is kind of cute in like robot terms, so that's a nice touch. And overall, I think if you like these sort of three-dimensional puzzle games and like puzzle driving games and stuff like that, you probably will enjoy this game. It's a lot of fun past sort of some control issues that I ran into, and that might have even just been a me thing. I might have just been looking in the wrong places for instructions and stuff. So I think if you know how to use the controls and everything, it actually is a pretty cool little game. I'm not sure how much money it costs, but I think that there's enough content, it looks like, in this game, and it is fun enough to play, that I feel like the price that they want for it, I feel like it's probably between 15 and 20 bucks. That's probably justified for it. Like I said, although I'm not a huge player of games like this normally, I think if I was, I would be happy paying that price for it. Another thing that you guys have to kind of remember when I make these reviews is that sometimes it's hard for me to establish whether or not I would pay a price for something, because I like to buy my games physically, and whenever I get review keys, the games are digital. So like I don't really want to spend any money on anything digital ever. So I think that, you know, just kind of keep that in mind when I talk about prices and whether or not I would actually buy something. But if I saw this in a GameStop or whatever, and it was like a physical version, which I know would never actually happen because like GameStop doesn't even sell PC games, I don't think. But anyway, just in a hypothetical universe, if they were charging like 20 bucks for this and I saw it in a GameStop for PC, and I was the type of person who really liked sort of construction puzzle games, I think I would probably buy it. So it's a pretty cool game. It's one of those games that pretty much is exactly what it looks like. Like if you watch gameplay of it, which you are right now, this is exactly what you're gonna get. It's not misleading at all or anything like that. Like if this looks like something you would enjoy, this is something you will be able to do if you buy the game. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the gameplay that I have recorded. I think I've already talked for like 2/3 of it, so whatever. As I've said in some other videos, I have multiple other first 15s to do. Not sure how many of them are gonna be recorded this way or gonna be recorded another way, but we'll see. I have, I think, like 5 or 6 more still, because I still keep getting keys. I've actually kind of stopped requesting game keys for the time being because just haven't had much time in general to make videos. So anyway though, yeah, here's the rest of the gameplay, and I hope you guys like it, and check the game out if it looks like something you would like. So bye bye.
No. I'm done.